Welcome back in, everyone, on this rainy day. Glad we're inside the studio today. We're proud to have Darryl Jackson, he's in the middle here, and Dustin Hill. They're from the East Mississippi Board of Realtors, here to talk about a couple of things here to talk about a recent settlement, right, guys?
That's correct.
That can affect you and me, particularly if you're into buying and selling some properties. First of all, welcome. I know you guys had a short walk here. Good luck on the walk back.
Thank you. Thank you.
We may put you to work here for a while. First of all, for people not in the know, Darryl, what's the settlement that we're talking about?
There were several class action lawsuits filed against the National Association of Realtors in the past few years, and they were settled under one blanket lawsuit, and all the others were included. And the final settlement took place, I believe it was August 17th. Everything in the agreement took place. And it required, by the agreement, that we as realtors change the way we're doing some things, especially disclosing certain things more clearly than they might have been in the past. It pertains to negotiation of fees for our buyer's agent and the listing agent. And some of the things that were discussed while they were in the process of settling the lawsuits got out, and then they didn't happen. So there are some things that need clarification, and what we're doing with East Mississippi Realtors, certain members of the board and the MLS committee and just members in general are going out and trying to help the public realize what has taken place and how it affects them, and some changes that'll be made for the buyers and the sellers and the real estate agents.
Got about a minute in this segment, Dustin. What does that mean right now for the buyers?
So right now the biggest thing to educate people on is buyers. What we have not had to do in the past that we have to do now is we have to have a buyer agency contract in place before we show any homes or give any tours of homes to buyers. So think of it like it being a consultation, if you will, with a buyer, similar to how we did do with listings. So if you call me or any of your realtors in our area to list your house, we'll go out there to the house and meet with you, talk about our services. Well, now we're doing the same thing with buyers, whereas before we may meet them at the house, give them a tour, explain agency representation, and then talk about the property. We're having a consultation on the front end about our services and going into a buyer agency contract on the front end.
Changes the way for buyers, but it changes the way you guys do business as well. Dustin Hill and Darryl Jackson are our guests. They're going to stay with us and talk a little bit more about this. This is interesting, and it does affect you if you are maybe thinking about real estate, either on the buying end or the selling end. Before we go, welcome back in, everyone. We're glad to have Darryl Jackson and Dustin Hill from the East Mississippi Realtors Association here talking about some things that a lot of people need to know about a new settlement. Guys, I'll let you get back in, pick up our conversation. I think you're talking about buyer's commission maybe right now, something like that. So
one part of the settlement was they want to make sure that the buyer's commission is disclosed to the person that's listing the property or the person that's buying the property, or both. And the forms that we have that are compliant with this settlement outline this, so that if you're listing a property or buying a property, you will fully understand who's paying the commission and what the options are. On the buyer side, the buyer can pay the commission, same as it was in the past. The seller can pay the commission. You can split it. The buyer can pay part of it. The seller can pay part of it. You can put part of it as a concession on the contract. You can add it to the contract. So if a buyer has a situation to where they don't have enough money for the down payment and for the closing cost and the commission, you can work with your agent to try to get everything done so that the buyer's agent is paid, the listing agent, will be paid, and they'll come to terms, and everybody will agree to an acceptable contract.
Is it a different strokes for different folks type type deal, or?
Yeah, absolutely.
So situation?
Yeah, every situation is different. I mean, it's always been negotiable in the past. I think the hope is that this makes it more transparent with negotiations. And of course, when you have a change like this in our industry, our state level association has worked really hard. We have a standards forms committee at the state level at the Mississippi Association of Realtors. They've worked hard to revise all the forms that we use to make sure that we're in compliance with the rules that are passed down from the National Association of Realtors. So here on the local area, we're all relearning those forms a little bit differently this time and taking the time to sit down and explain it to buyers and sellers. And I would just encourage any buyer and seller out there in the market right now, if you're hearing things about this settlement and you have questions, reach out to your local real estate agent, your local realtor in the area, and ask for a sit down with them, and they can go over some of the details and some of the forms with you and explain a little bit further.
You kind of led me into the next one. There's a website, by the way, for East Mississippi Realtors, a phone number that you can call. And I was about to say, always smarter. Get in touch with your realtors when you're dealing with real estate. Don't do it on your own. Always get in touch with these. These guys are experts. Call them, and they will always help you out. Gentlemen, thank y'all. Letting down a little bit on the rain. So
well, good.
Anyway, appreciate y'all being with us today.
Thank you for having us. We really appreciate it.
Really appreciate it, and hopefully some folks have learned from this.